Dead Space 3 is the third game in the main franchise. This could explain the 3. Dead Space 3 kicks off with Isaac Clarke dealing with some problems. These being Ellie breaking up with him and him being behind on the rent. That's right, Isaac Clarke lives in an apartment. However, only for two new characters to come barging in. These are John Carver and Dick-Face Norton. Whoops, I mean Robert Norton. They tell Isaac that Ellie is lost and they need his help. After coming across Ellie and finding out some backstory, does something happen and you are stranded from everyone else. The first 8 chapters of Dead Space 3 are kept in the same fashion as the previous 2. You have zero-G sequences, you have dark corridors, it's meant to be creepy, and for the most part it's executed well. It's only after landing on tower planets does the game lose these elements. The only tense parts is when you're running low on ammo, and on Impossible you'll come across this from time to time. But other difficulties don't have anything to worry about. You unlock other difficulties when you beat the game. If you want to get the most enjoyment out of them, don't play on Impossible first time round, because the difficulties being set to hard, the game will become a cakewalk and you'll get bored with the new difficulties after the first few chapters. For the first time in Dead Space fashion, minus Extraction, you can have a co-op partner and the mood is definitely different. You have someone to laugh at with things. So what does the game developers do to make the game scale? They give you, in most cases, double enemies and they're stronger. This can make the hard parts that you play on single player easier in co-op. However, co-op is done well, except the fact that they don't use it to the full extent. You're never split from your partner, which feels like a missed opportunity. What would be better than being split from your co-op partner and having scaled enemies in a game that's genre is horror? The music is really nice, the sounds of the necromorphs crawling around, and when you're in a tense situation, it's really good. The Dead Space 3 story is entertaining. You find out more about the markers, what's sending the signals to them, and a new alien race. You do face a bit of backtracking throughout certain missions. This can get a bit tedious, but there have been people saying too many things go wrong with Isaac and his crew and things don't seem to work and it's constant repairing. Firstly, the tech has been on this planet for roughly 200 years, and need I remind you of Dead Space? Chapter 1 crash landed, Chapter 2 Captain gets transformed, Chapter 3 engines had no fuel, Chapter 4 ADS system offline, Chapter 6 oxygen levels falling, the air was getting poisoned, Chapter 12 find out the girlfriend is dead. We also have side missions, which is new to the Dead Space series, and despite a lot of them feeling like they're rehashing the locales, with a lot of rooms looking the same, they're still interesting and fun to play on co-op. Also, the co-op exclusive side missions that you get the hallucination scenes on are exclusive to co-op. Remember that. The stuff that makes Dead Space unique is exclusive to co-op. There have been some new gameplay mechanics added in. These are the roll, which is done rather well, cover, which is pretty forgettable, and weapon crafting, which is a great idea added to the game and works really well. You want a force gun with a pulse rifle? You can have it. You want a rocket launcher with ammo support? You go. It leads to all sorts of weapon combinations, which does affect the overall mood, but it is a fresh change to the series. This leads to universal ammo, which streamlines the game a lot. Also, there's a wide range of enemies, from humans to a large array of necromorphs. Unfortunately, if you're playing on Impossible single player, then you come across a huge problem: inconsistency. For example, the Snow Beast. The game developers say you don't need to play co-op. Well, that would be very well and good if this boss wasn't screaming at you whenever you fight him co-op. You can clearly tell when you're fighting him that he was created for co-op, and you fight him not once, not twice, but 3 times. By the end, you'll be wanting to rip out your hair like it's flesh off a dead corpse and you're a feeder. But it's not just that. You have parts that are insanely hard. One spot in the game, you have a bit where you have enhanced slashers, twitches, humans with rocket launchers, humans with machine guns, not to mention you have a couple of grenades thrown at you. It can be a bit too much. Also on PC, you come across in one specific chapter after the zero-G section, and just throughout the level, that the floor doesn't form at times and you'll fall right through it and die. If you're playing through on hardcore, you'll get sent back to the beginning of the game, and during chapter 16 I came across one of the AIs walking into a fence and was not able to get killed. Dead Space 3 looks really nice. The gameplay is fun despite once you have a fully upgraded rig on Impossible, the game becomes like a cakewalk with a bunch of inconsistency. The game is definitely different from Dead Space. The best way to look at it is if you don't mind a bit of action but you want to learn more about the lore, have a fun co-op experience, then you'll enjoy the game. If you want horror like Resident Evil 1 or more like the first Dead Space, then steer clear from this game. I give Dead Space 3 an 8 out of 10. Now that is a good score on my scale. 5 is average, anything below 5 is below average, anything above 5 is above average. 7.5 onwards is a great game, 8.5 onwards is an excellent game. Dead Space just falls short of being an excellent game with some of the problems that can be fixed up, hopefully in a sequel. And if you enjoyed this review, why not rate, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for some more videos in the future. Thank you and goodbye.